Hi, Captain Dan here at Scorpion Anchorage. This is not Little Scorpion, which is the overnight anchorage. This is just Scorpion. It's an open roadstead and only advisable in calm conditions. We came here last night because Little Scorpion had a lot of people in there, all on single hooks, and really would have been dangerous to get in the middle of that, as it's quite deep where we would have had to anchor, and we would have had to put out 200 feet or 250 feet of scope. Gives you a very big radius, and it was pretty apparent that most of the other players in there didn't have much of a clue of how to anchor safely. So we came down here, it was calm, we set the hook. I'm going to go through the anchoring drill a little bit later, but I just want to point out that this is the gateway into the island, and the trail that goes to Potato and loops around the cavern is something that you don't want to miss. It's some of the prettiest real estate in California. This is what remains of Scorpion Ranch. The bunkhouse and utility shed, and you can see some of the small farm implements, and the interpretive center is right in there, although there's nothing to see from right here. It's our experience that the left side of this beach is a little bit easier than the right. There's a little more sand, and no matter what, you're going to end up on some fairly big rocks, uncomfortable, so we generally wear our sandals in the kayaks. So changing his course back to the preferred west side of the beach. It's just past high tide, so they don't have to drag their boats very far up. They'll only be gone a couple of hours, so the tide will be lower, and I have a little longer pull to get it back in the water. There goes Susan.
Well, once you are ashore, there are some fabulous sights to see on the Cavern Loop Trail. Here are just a couple of quick snapshots. Trail takes you to Potato Harbor, and along the way you see some beautiful spots that are reminiscent of the Big Sur, maybe even prettier. The photographs you'll bring home will astound your friends. At least they astound me. It's an incredible walk. The walk ends right here, right where you started. That's Sancerre, snugly anchored here. Let's take a look at how we got that way. Here's the view from Google Earth. The blue pin is not exactly where we are. I'll explain a little bit in a second. Now, this is the NOAA chart, the Anacapa Passage, which includes Scorpion Anchorage. Note the two rocks, the 13-footer to the left, 10-footer to the right. And note also that the cliff face, water depth of 2 3/4 fathoms. This will be important when we get into the video of our anchoring procedure.
We're anchored in the middle of a triangle that is defined by this rock and this buoy, the cliff face. It looks pretty close, and depending upon which way the wind's blowing, you can be fairly close to these things. The water's deep, almost right up to those rocks. We set our anchor in about 18 feet of water last night. We're on a full moon. The tidal range is about 5 feet, so it probably came up to 23 feet. We put out about 100 feet and then put our snubber on and lowered a little bit more chain. So effectively, we have about 125 feet from the hawse. Here's a picture of our chart plotter the next morning. And we moved all around last night, but we stayed within probably 50 feet of the anchor. And that's that squiggly line right there. We've got our track set to monitor every 5 seconds. And this is a quick and dirty way of figuring out whether you're dragging or not. I'm still kind of old-fashioned and like to go outside and take a look at the landscape.
So here's the overview again, with us in the triangle between the 13-foot rock, the buoy, and the cliff face. I wouldn't feel safe with more boats in here. Once you get anchored safely, it's time to go kayaking. Now, we never leave the boat unattended, but we always have someone who's willing to stay back and read for a while the rest of us set out and explore the caves.
There are caves all up and down the coast. You can go around the corner here, but remember, the wind will come up later in the afternoon. So this is a good way is to paddle west in the morning and ride the wind home in the afternoon. Caves abound for the next mile or so, going west along the island. Scorpion Anchorage is probably the best spot to go kayaking. And our favorite place, the most beautiful place, is the grotto, which is inside of this big rock over here. It's to the left side. There's actually a tunnel that can go through. You have to be very cautious. Don't go in there when there's a large swell or even a moderate swell. And take a look at it for a few minutes before you go in to assess it as the sets come in at rather long interval. The tunnel goes all the way through, pops you out on the reef. You can kayak around the rock, back around the rock, and come back in for a second e-ticket ride.
A sunny day, the Blue Grotto is the most spectacular thing on the island.
Well, I hope you'll take the time to sail to the Channel Islands one of these days. I wouldn't recommend anchoring here at Scorpion overnight. Go to Little Scorpion if you can, or one of the other all-weather anchorages like Smugglers or Prisoners. Well, if you got any questions about sailing the Channel Islands, just give me a call. The information's on our website at sailchannelislands.com. Well, look forward to seeing you on the water. Have a great trip.